Before sitting down to hammer out a budget, think about what kind of project you have in mind. Is it a large or small project? Will it be carried out by a single PI, or will there be many members of the team? Is your project a part of a larger project that draws from other funds? Being able to identify your project type will be important for how you begin to plan your budget. If you're part of an institution or working on behalf of a tribe, there may be facilities and administration costs, also known as indirect costs. You may not have any control over the rate, but it's important to know what the institutional or tribal rate is and if it's in line with similar institutional rates. Too high of an indirect cost rate may raise questions during the review process.
Daryl mentioned the importance of considering the indirect cost of your institute. In this clip, Colleen gives a very helpful tip in managing indirect costs for collaborative projects at multiple institutes.
Another consideration on these collaborative proposals is the indirect cost rates, which can vary considerably from institutions. A university often has a rate somewhere around 50%, and these are much higher rates than you often see for tribes. So having the indirect cost rate for the on-site work might allow you to parcel out the money in such a way that your actual direct costs of the efforts are not inflated by the higher rate of the indirect cost rate for the institution with a higher rate. So what you can do is, again, consider what the actual costs of the work are in your direct portion of the grant, direct cost portion, and then think about if there's a way to split it up, especially if there's a difference in the indirect cost rates that's substantial, say 50% versus 25%. So these are really good ways to, again, be more effective with your overall cost in the work that's proposed, because your total cost of the grant will be the direct costs and the indirect costs added together.
Let's now return to Daryl as he discusses about fine-tuning your budget.
Along with my project summary, the budget is one of the last things I fine-tune. There may have been changes in my project design during the writing process that affects my budget. Something as simple as a change in the number of trips into the field. Or maybe I'm struggling over consultation fees. Something as simple as, did I pay an elder speaker who was providing important linguistic information the same as a computer programming consultant? Once you feel the budget is pretty well honed, then another critical part of your application is your budget justification. This is where you explain in simple and direct terms why you feel the funding amounts are needed for what you want to do. Make sure you have adequately researched what things cost. What does it really cost to lay out and print a publication that you intend to distribute? What is a fair consultation fee for language speakers? You may have an idea of what you would be willing to accept as payment for a particular task, but if you have to go find someone to do that task, you may be surprised at what it will cost you. So be careful about using your own financial judgment in understanding the cost of services. And the very final thing that always helps me is to take my narrative, budget, and support letters and ask a colleague to read it with fresh eyes. What I mean by this is a person who has not helped you with any of the application and is not familiar with your project. If a set of fresh eyes can read your application and it makes sense to the reader, then you have probably done the very best you can.